Despite an extension of an internationally backed truce, heavy fighting continues to rock Sudan's capital Khartoum and its twin city Omdurman. The reports Friday of gunfights, artillery shelling, and even airstrikes in populated areas. Turkey says one of its evacuated planes was hit by gunfire, but there were no casualties. And some doctors have reportedly been kidnapped in order to treat wounded fighters. Since the fighting broke out on April 15th between the army and the paramilitary RSF group, the country's health ministry has reported more than 500 people have been killed and thousands more injured. Dozens of hospitals are out of service and Sudan's health system is nearing collapse. Tens of thousands of people have fled the country as international evacuations continue. The UK says it will end its flights on Saturday evening after a number of British citizens began to decline offered airlifts out of the country.
Throughout Friday, rescue teams were recovering bodies from the rubble of the 9-story building hit by a Russian missile in the Ukrainian town of UMAN. At least 23 people died, including 4 children. 2 other people were killed in Dnipro after a terrifying night attack in which Russia launched more than 20 cruise missiles and 2 drones over Ukraine.
Мы просто ждали помощь, пытались над этим только сконцентрироваться. Когда мы спустились, мы очень плохо себя чувствовали. Мы поехали в больницу и нас накололи чем-то, я не знаю. Сейчас я хочу увидеть своих детей, живых или мертвых.
The Ukrainian president, who received his Czech counterpart on Friday, called for a minute of silence to remember the deceased children and adults.
Is clearly not viable.
After 2 weeks of intense negotiations, Brussels has reached an agreement with Poland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria and Slovakia on Ukrainian grain imports. The news was confirmed by the President of the European Commission and the Vice President for Economic Affairs. According to Ursula von der Leyen, the agreement will preserve both Ukraine's export capacity so that it can continue to feed the world and the livelihoods of farmers in Europe.
Brazil has officially recognized 1,200 square kilometers of indigenous land. A move headed by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva that is meant to protect forests from the exploitation that marked his predecessor's administration. The land will remain under federal jurisdiction, but indigenous people will have the right to use it. Mining activities will be prohibited in the region, and non-indigenous people will be forbidden from engaging in economic activity on the land.
Pope Francis, during his visit to Budapest, called for recovery of the European spirit and rejection of, quote, adolescent belligerence amid rising nationalism and war in Ukraine. The pontiff arrived in Hungary on Friday for a 3-day visit, which kicked off with a meeting with nationalist Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, whose views often clash with his own. In a carefully calibrated speech, he demanded that the European Union approves safe and legal ways for migrants to enter and repeated his condemnation of, quote, gender ideology. He then praised Hungary for promoting family values. Orbán has called for a ceasefire, but Hungary's Prime Minister has refused to supply Kyiv with weapons and threatened to veto EU sanctions against Moscow while maintaining Hungary's strong dependence on Russian energy.
London's world-famous wax museum, Madame Tussauds, has added a figure of the soon-to-be Queen Camilla at next week's coronation ceremony. Currently known as the Queen Consort, Camilla is to be crowned alongside her husband, King Charles III, on Saturday, May the 6th. Her accessories include replicas of the late Queen's Belgian sapphire tiara, a George VI sapphire necklace, an Art Deco engagement ring, and a Welsh gold wedding band.